Okay. So remember, if you don't want to be on the recording, just don't say anything, although you'll probably be in this part. But I want to thank everybody for being here. We're really glad to have you here. And I'm super excited to hear from Jeff and Lisa. Jeff, it's where he's at right now. It's just a little after 5 in the morning. So he's a little tired. Um, so we're going to start. He's waking up. We're going to start with Lisa, but fortunately, Jeff is an early bird, or he wouldn't have agreed to do this while he's in Thailand. So, but most of you are members. All of you are members except for Jay. Jay, can you hear me all right? Jay Cantor?
Yes, I can.
How'd you find out about this? Are you friends with someone or did you see us somewhere?
Meet up.
Very good. Good. Well, welcome. Welcome. Where are you at? Are you in Portland or in Seattle?
New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Well, we're glad to have you here.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it in.
So good. So anyway, so we're going to start. This is a I Take the Lead webinar, and Lisa's going to be sharing about teaching the fellow members to refer to you, about getting referrals. This is about networking. And Jeff, I'm not sure what Jeff's going to be talking about because he said that internet strategy is dead in 2025, and I'm not sure our marketing is dead. So we'll see what Jeff has to say. It's going to be very interesting. They'll each have a few minutes, and then we'll have time for questions and answers. So I'm just going to go ahead and have our sassy CPA start. Lisa's been a member of I Take the Lead for several years. I don't know, 15 years?
2008.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. That long. 17 years. Holy crap. She's become a very, very close friend of mine, as Jeff has. And she's awesome. And so I've heard her at her meetings trying to teach the other members to do certain things or not do certain things. So I'll just let her take it from here, Lisa. And
Thanks.
you should be able to share and all that.
That's like I don't have anything to share. We're going to talk.
Oh, okay.
I am Lisa Lynn. I am known as the Sassy CPA. And as Becky said, I've been doing networking here with I Take the Lead for a few years. And I did some other networking type events before joining I Take the Lead. But the thing that I see in our groups is that we rotate around and everybody does what should be a 10-minute presentation. And people tend to flounder with this, whether it be the fear of speaking or just not really knowing how to get out of their own heads for what it is that they should say. And so the tips that I have here might be directed towards I Take the Lead, but they are definitely things that you can bring to any other group or any other time you're going to be meeting with other professionals. So I think that there are 3 types of 10-minute commercials or 10-minute presentations that you can do. The first one I call autobiographical. And you want to do this when you are just joining a group, or if you've been a part of a group for a while, but there's been turnover. And so maybe people haven't heard your story before. And the autobiographical should give your team members information on, what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you got to this path, and some of your experience. So you can build some credibility about who you are.
So what, why, and how?
Kinda, yeah. And then the third type, I'm going to jump to because I want to spend most of our time on the second type. But the third type tends to be more educational. And that is where your group knows each other pretty well, and you are providing some information about your industry that the members of your circle might utilize. So yesterday at my B2B group, I did more of an educational talk for my 10-minute presentation. There's a new form with Oregon, and I brought it up. It was a discussion. It was something new that nobody else had heard of, but it's something that impacts them if they are an Oregon taxpayer. So that was educational. It was for their benefit, but it also goes back and provides credibility as to my knowledge that, yes, I am staying on top of things for my clientele. So it's much more educational. Okay, so the main topic that I want to talk about is the second type. And I have to admit, I've never been able to come up with a really good descriptive term for this second type of presentation. And this is where we should be spending most of our time when we are educating our clients. So for lack of anything else, I'm just going to call it the avatars.
Oh, okay.
So what are the avatars? Well, the avatars are your ideal clients. And the best way to get your team members primed to be able to help you and find you referrals is to teach them what your avatars are. That way, when they are out doing their businesses out in their communities, they'll recognize those avatars who are your ideal clients and make those connections for you. Now, in each of our businesses, there might be multiple avatars that fit what we would deem to be our ideal client. And that's okay. What you want to do is focus in on one of those avatars with each of your presentations, and then go into that depth so your team members can find them. For people who've been a part of I Take the Lead for a long time, you may have heard some of the comments that I'm about to say, mainly because I will admit I stole them from Sean Harry and Lynn laughs, and a few other people who did a lot of presentation. But the real avatar here is very detailed. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to tell you one of my avatars. My ideal client is a married couple. They are between 40 and 58. They have one or two kids. They live in suburban Portland. They have a house that is painted brown. It has a two-car garage. They love animals. And they are always taking their animals either with them, camping or hiking, but making sure that they're well taken care of and healthy at the veterinarian. They love going to live
She says that
events.
as the tail goes by.
Pretty much, Lily has to make her presence known. She hasn't been on any other video, but she had to come to this one. Sorry. Now we're laying down. It should be okay. The children of this avatar are in grade school to high school age. And they have 3 cars for their 2-car garage. One is a truck, one is a sedan, and one is an energy efficient car because they have to drive around town all the time. They wear jeans and work type clothes to work, and they're wearing tennis shoes and logoed t-shirts. Now, as I was going through and telling you the story of who they are, who did you think of? Well, you thought of married couples who were 40 to 58. You thought of married couples that had 2 kids. You thought of people who have kids in grade school, people who have kids in high school. You thought about people who have a 2-car garage. You thought about people who have 3 cars. You thought about people who have work trucks, sedans, and energy efficient cars. So I have defined one avatar but how many potential clients popped into your mind? That is because you might be thinking, oh, well, geez, this client, they only have 2 cars. I wonder if that would still work for her. The answer is, yeah, it would work for me.
Yep.
Or,
Exactly.
hey, I thought of somebody, but they're only 38. They're not 40 yet. Okay, I can work with that. So it's about getting in and telling that detail. And that avatar, if you have a couple of avatars defined, you have multiple 10-minute commercials. Because I could also come in and talk about the exact same avatar in another commercial and break it down even further. I could talk more about specifically the type of business that they're doing. I didn't define what business they were in.
Mhm.
You can break those things down. And as tides turn, you can modify that avatar. So when we were going through the pandemic, it might have been that I was looking for people who were struggling to keep their employees on payroll. Or it might have been people who had to lay off all of their staff. Or I might have said people who maintained all of their staff despite the hit to their paycheck. There's lots of things that you can do once you define that avatar. And then you want to stick to that one avatar for each commercial. If I went in and after telling you that, telling you, oh, I also work with people who are getting close to retirement, who need to get their estate planning done. And I also work with small businesses that tend to be consultants. They are, I, they do work for, I don't know, people. They specialize in clients who do landscaping. It can be any of these other things. If I start telling you about all of my ideal clients and all of the different avatars and clients that I might work with, all of a sudden you can't remember anybody. Because remember, when you start talking to and saying that you work with everyone, your your team's ears are going to hear that you work with no one.
Mhm.
You've got to be specific. Now, don't be afraid of being too specific. How many homes and I'm going to stick with the Portland metro area since that's where most of us are. How many homes in the Portland metro area have a 2-car garage? A lot. How many people have 3 cars? A lot. So being very specific is really not being exclusionary at all. It's actually opening up the door more fully to find you referrals. Does anybody have any questions about this? And I do all my Zooms on iPhone. So Becky, you might have to help me identify if somebody's got a question.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think this is a good topic. I forget about some of Sean's things, and it really does, because you're painting a picture, you're making somebody think of somebody specific and
Mhm.
engage in that conversation versus I'm looking for anybody that breathes and has a checkbook.
I
And
know,
we've all heard that.
yeah.
Well, the other one that we hear a lot, and this is not really truly meant to pick on mortgage brokers, but it does.
Yeah,
How many times have we heard 10-minute presentations on the current interest rates?
yeah.
Now follow that question with how many people actually care? Even though it might affect your business because you're a real estate agent or a financial advisor, the reality is, other than hey, guess what? Interest rates are up. It's a great time to come see me. Or hey, interest rates, boy, man, we're having troubles, but I got some great programs. Send them my way. That's really what your team needs to hear. We don't need to know the economic interests of, oh, these people say it's going to go up here, it's going to go down there, and and all of a sudden, everybody in your I take the lead meeting is glazed over.
Oh, absolutely, they're falling asleep. Yeah,
Lisa,
so,
I think coming up with several avatars is really important too. Just repeating that one would be hard because We need to have you
Exactly.
go outside the box when you do it and, come up with a new avatar that's maybe we'd never even thought of. And that's a great idea. Thanks for bringing this up.
Yeah, you do it 2 or 3 times in a row and then come up with another one. It gets people focused.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
And I will
Uh,
say, if you've been networking a while, it doesn't hurt to come up with an avatar of somebody you don't want to work with.
Oh, yeah, Lynn's done that and that really helps too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
True.
I want to caution people with that.
Yeah.
Because if you've got an avatar you don't want, figure out for your team the flip side for the avatar you do want.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Because we want to be, if I told you about all the people I didn't want to meet, that's all you would be thinking about.
Right,
Is
right.
all these people. And so it's about finding, oh my gosh, this person was a real pain in the arse. Okay, what is it that was so bad about them? And how can I flip that to the positive to say, okay, this is what I want to attract.
Yeah.
And so that's, really important too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you have any questions or any comments, just go ahead and unmute yourselves. You should be able to on the Rhea, are you getting ready to unmute? How did I know that?
Well, one of the things I want to add to it, it is good to do visuals, and have maybe some writing or some pictures or whatever you need in there, because that a lot of people respond differently and hear differently. And so we need to hit all the senses when you're doing your presentation, because that's going to make other people click in instead of just talking, if that makes sense.
It does. We used to meet in person and bring handouts.
Yep.
And when we were doing those in-person meetings and somebody brought their computer to do a PowerPoint show, it was like, oh crap. It was horrible. Well, now
Yeah.
with Zoom, the PowerPoint is good. The one thing I will caution you about, everybody about, is when you're designing PowerPoints, don't make them so small that people can't see them on mobile devices.
Right.
I do all of my Zooms. I use the camera and speakers on my iPhone. I watch every Zoom through that means. And so it becomes very hard to participate in some PowerPoint slides. So remember that when you're doing it, that you're leaving your fonts big enough and not putting so much verbiage that it's hard for people to read.
Think about your older networking partners. You don't want this.
No, let's not try to figure out what the nose hairs are doing.
Michelle's unmuted. Michelle,
Can
did you
I-
have a question or?
Oh, can I?
Well,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
go ahead.
Gabrielle.
No,
yeah.
go ahead, Michelle.
I was just gonna tell Lisa that I'm curious about the form you were referencing that you spoke to the group yesterday about, and maybe we can talk after.
Sure.
Yeah, what, Lisa?
Oh yeah, no, I'm happy to talk later. The new form, it's the Oregon
Oh, yeah.
voluntary self-identification form. So I some of you will hear about it probably more on Thursday, but some of you heard about it yesterday. But yes, I'm happy to talk about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just not here. Gabriella?
So what I was going to say is, I think it's really important to know who you're trying to get a referral for, because someone like a realtor or a car salesman or something like that, we are not going to engage with the client all that much like you do. You're on a very personal level for a long time. We engage with them for an intense amount of time as a realtor. I'm a realtor. And so my net is a little wider. So what I try to do is jog people's memory and thinking process of, well, who's got a life event change? Who's, talking about, well, I'm going to go to move to California. Those kinds of things should trigger someone to say, hey, I have a great realtor I can refer you to, Gabriella, But in your case, because it really doesn't matter to me too much, like all the specifics. I just want them to be alive or deceased. I can sell a deceased person's house too. Or if they're alive, then as a buyer, that's probably pretty important. But So I think it really
So-
depends on who you're getting the referral for.
Not really, not so much, because there are different people that your personality is a better fit for, your experience is a better fit for. And so even though you can sell a house for anybody, you may work best with people who are needing to downsize. It's time to move out of the family home and move into assisted facilities or retirement community. And so you can specialize and have one avatar is the person who's going to downsize. You can have another avatar of this is a new couple, they've just gotten married and now they're looking at starting their family. They want to get their first place together, or they need a bigger space than what they currently have to add family. So you have different avatars and you still want to have some specifics in there. And so like Uria's company does landscaping. Well, you're not going to refer everybody as you're driving down the street and their yard looks like crap or is really overgrown. Well, that referral doesn't help Ria. What it is you're going to look for, hey, I'm looking for somebody who has inherited their family property. They're going to, and when they've inherited the family property, either they're going to keep it or they need a major cleanup in order to sell it and get a really good, beautiful face on it. Or you can do somebody who has just purchased a home and either it's a 30-year-old home and the landscaping needs to be redone, or it's a new home buyer where there is nothing but dirt and they've got a clean slate. They don't know what to do. So you break down those avatars and then you really go in and talk about one of them. And that's really how to trigger your team's mind.
Lisa, another example for that on real estate that I used for my father-in-law 20 years ago. He was selling his 2-acre property in Warren, and it was arguably they're all kind of horse properties. And he listed it with the pastor's sister, who was working inner city Portland, had no concept of selling that type of property. I had somebody in a group who said, she lived out that way. I specialize in horse properties. Nothing. The listing expired. We got it with her and she got it done because she specialized in that kind of properties.
Yeah.
I think another avenue, Lisa, is how do you promote, or better way to say it, how are you promoting it? Are you waiting for people to come to you, or are you avidly seeking people to atone them with a referral?
I have to admit, I'm not really sure what you're
Well,
asking.
there's two transactions. One, you're going forward looking for somebody to contact with to share a referral. And there's those people that are approaching you that are looking for a referral.
Oh, so I don't really treat them much different. If somebody's approaching me for a referral, I talk to them and if I don't, depending on how well I know them, I figure out what it is that they are looking for. And then I go into my network of people and provide 1 or 2 names of the people that I think are their best match. Obviously, doing networking for 20 years, there's a lot of people that have come and gone, but there's a lot of people who've stayed. And I know that if I do better working with women. And I tend to have a lot of clients that are in the group I call the women scorned, whether that be through divorce or if they are widows, they weren't in charge of the finances. So I have a lot of clients that come to me because they trust me as a woman. If I get some big macho guy coming through my door, they're not going to stay because they are not up for the sassy CPA. They want to be talking to a bro dude. And so when somebody's coming to you asking you for referrals, you got to kind of do that match, because frankly, if somebody comes to you, Rick, and they're a bro dude, please send them to somebody else.
Ah.
That is not who I want to spend my time with. I don't need that level of macho. It's like, no, get out of here, go.
But,
yeah.
but can I interject? But see,
Yeah.
that's the difference is you're building a clientele. I'm building a long-term clientele. Like, to me, it doesn't matter if I've worked with tons of macho men, and I've worked with, snowflake people too that can't handle anything in life, and they cry through the whole thing. So it's a little different building a clientele or getting a sale and building someone that you keep in touch with, but it's not at the level you do. So I don't want to box people in by saying, well, I need just a Harley rider, and that's all I work with. I try to just say anybody that's got to buy or sell or downsizing or upsizing.
And that's the whole point here, is that you have multiple avatars that you teach your team about building. So if you are into Harleys, you might say, hey, I've got an in the Harley community. I'm looking for people who are out on the road riding their bikes that I maybe haven't met yet. And then you have another avatar that is, okay, I'm looking for that first time snowflake. They're out there buying. And it's okay to have those different avatars. But
Yes.
if you come in and just say, I'm looking for anybody who's going to buy or sell a house, that doesn't help get referrals, because it's like, okay, well, yeah, at some point in my life, I probably will buy or sell a house. But it's not right now. And it's not helping my team identify who those people are.
So, but then you're saying, so who would I refer a macho man to if I don't have somebody in this, in our team, on our team, that will want to take them? So I have a macho man, I'm gonna have to go outside of this group then, is that right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather have that choice to say, hey, I want to refer you, I'm not the perfect CPA for you, but I'm going to send you to my colleague? I mean, wouldn't you rather have that?
You
than
could
me to
always,
send
you
it to
can,
somebody else?
you can always go up and ask the person. So, like you could go up and just because on my screen, Gabriella and Rhea are right next to each other. And so Gabriella, you could go up to Rhea and say, hey, I got this guy, he's really macho and everything, very, very particular, and da, 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 da. Is this a good referral for you? And then Rhea could say yes or no, and tell you no, send him someplace else. It's
Well, or another.
I was saying, and that's like, it's kind of like Rhea. So example for Rhea, even though I would possibly personally love to have them come and do a small part of my front yard for me, I know the answer will be no. And that's because I am outside of their work area.
Exactly.
yeah.
And,
Rhea,
and so, but, and it also is, and there was this guy who I met, speed networking a couple weeks ago, and he was like willing to go everywhere. He's brand new handyman. And I said, well, where do you live? And I said, oh, okay. He's over on the east side. He's out in Malala area, which, by the way, I know people in that area. And so it's easier for me to say, okay, when, here's another person I can refer to because I know people in that area. And so him narrowing it down, if he just says anywhere, it's like, oh yeah, I'll go out to Seaside. It's like, yeah, I know people out in Seaside. Because again, I travel around a lot, but that doesn't mean that would be ideal for him, because that's a long travel for him. And it'd be better for him to narrow down his place, type of thing, because of what he does and things like that. And so having it narrowed down basically gives my brain a thought. I was like, oh,
Rhea,
I know
Yeah.
people there.
I need to interject because we need to have time for Jeff.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
yeah.
I just
Alright.
wanted to say something real quick, Becky. I think what Gabrielle is missing is the fact that each of your 10, minute commercials should be focusing on one area. And then the
Yeah.
next time you focus on another area. It's not that you're deleting all those, but you're focusing on one in your 10-minute presentation to bring it down to 10 minutes. and give us one thing to focus on during the week to bring you a referral. Does
Right.
that make more sense?
Yeah.
Oh, it totally makes sense. I mean, I've been referring business since I was a child to people, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been a salesperson
Yeah.
all my life, but there's a danger in my kind of business as opposed to building a personal clientele that you're going to box yourself in, you're going to get typecast.
But you're
And
not, because all you're doing is taking that big box, everything that's in that box, and bringing it down really tiny to help us, to
Mhm.
give us an idea. That's
Okay.
all
Yeah.
it's for.
You're
Sure.
teaching
Yeah,
us.
you can actually
Yeah.
even say, this week I'm looking for, not that you only do that. This week
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking for this.
This,
And
yeah,
next week it might be something else.
Mhm, yeah.
exactly. Well, thank
Or
you.
you
Well,
could even pick
thank
one
you.
a month.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, Lisa. And so at this time, we want to have Jeff's in Thailand, just got up not too long ago. It's early morning for him, and we're really super happy that he could be here with us today. So Jeff Mays has also been a member of I Take the Lead. Do you know Jeff when you first joined? I know it's
It was
well over
actually,
10 years.
it
Huh?
was 2009.
2009. So
Yeah.
a year after Lisa.
Yeah, not quite as experienced as Lisa, but
So we'll let Jeff take it from here. So, and he's also a very good friend of mine. So yeah.
I'm gonna
Uh-oh, it
try
just
to
says
do
Zoom.
this. Hang on, it's coming.
I know.
There we go. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. That takes a minute. We're halfway around the world today. So
Yeah.
that's my second home.
Nice.
As we say in Thailand, Sawasdee Kap, which means hello, and hello from Thailand today. And this is going to be just hopefully I can do it quickly. This is a subject I could go on for days. But
Yeah.
a few months ago, I've kind of gone back to my roots of marketing. When I first joined I Take Lead, I was doing marketing and coaching and that sort of thing. And I've kind of gone back to that. And so I want to start doing that again too. So this is I went in November to a seminar with one of my mentors, Frank Kern, who's a digital marketing guy. And he said the whole world's changed. Digital marketing as we know it is gone. It's dead. It's not going to happen anymore. And we need to look at a new way of doing things. So that's what I wanted to talk about for a few minutes today. And then at the end,
Sure.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to look at, something else. But, it's a new era. We've been in this era of what I would call sales I started digital marketing. I went back in 2008. So the year before I Take the Lead. I jumped into digital marketing deep. I was doing back then Google stuff.
Jeff, can I ask you to talk louder or get closer to a mic because I can barely hear you? And
Well,
I've got
that's
my
part of
volume
the-
up really high.
That's part of the problem with where we're at. Is we probably don't have that good a connection. But
Yeah.
is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, the whole world has changed when digital marketing is concerned. We've gone from the era of the guy who's just getting overload with everything to the guy who wants to be involved. And we need to figure out as people in business how we attract those people that we want. And that's one of the things that we're going to go through today. And we're going to talk about where we've been, traditional marketing. We're going to talk about where we're going, which is a value first approach. And then we're going to talk about why it matters. And I think why it matters is we all want to go where the money is. If we didn't want to make money doing what we're doing, we're probably in the wrong spot, right? So
Right.
that's so where we've been is the old way of marketing, which was really email bombardment. What we try to do is get somebody's email. We do whatever we could to get them in the list. And I'm sure we've all seen this either from a professional presentation or even maybe somebody you met at I Take the Lead or another networking group where they got your email and all of a sudden you get an email every week. Even though
Yeah.
you didn't ask for it. We got to have some, what do we say, manners with that and actually get permission to send the email first, which is a good idea. But even when that happens, sending them an email 5 times a week is probably not what somebody wants. So you have to think about how that's working. And then, of course, the second thing is most of the time it drives you into some sort of a complex sales funnel to buy something. And then we have some really aggressive follow-up technique. You know, when I was doing funnels and that sort of marketing, I was sending 5 to 10 emails after somebody looked at the presentation, and that's pretty aggressive. So kind of what that was doing was we were in high pressure sales, and we're high pressuring people into doing things, and mainly through email. And then we create artificial scarcity and say there's only so many spots, or there's only so many appointments, or so much room. And we may say we're doing a class and we're only have 3 spots left. We have nobody registered. You know, that's crazy. The bottom line was what we really wanted to do was use some sort of a giveaway to get people to give us their contact information. You know what happens is we found that the cost to do that is that we get customer fatigue. People get burned out with what we're doing. And as that happens, we start to lose trust. And we know from marketing and from networking that the minute you lose trust, you lose the people, right? You have to know, like, and trust somebody in order to really do business with them long term. In marketing, particularly, the rate of conversion or the ability to sell goes down and the cost goes up. And all of a sudden, what was costing you a few dollars is costing you big dollars. So the new way, what I'll call the value first revolution, is to do in marketing exactly what we do in networking. Very, very similar. We want to have an authentic connection with people. And what that means with marketing today is that we're having a one-on-one or a conversation face to face. And that's something that marketers never did. The whole idea behind marketing was to stay as far away from customers as possible and just do sales. And now we need to think about building trust, because again, know, like, and trust is how we do that. And what we really want is long-term relationships. We've been talking about that already. You know, how do we get somebody that not just buys something once, but somebody that comes to us and actually wants to have a relationship with us long term? And we can do that through marketing too. And it's a whole new world, because what we're doing is changing the way we do things. And I want to talk just a little bit about what kind of content we would change to. So if we're out there doing social media posts, and probably most of us have some sort of a social media platform that we put something out on, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, we're doing something. And I challenge you that you want, with your content now, you want to give before you take. You know, if you're constantly using social media just to say, I want a sale, I want this, I want that, people get burned out very quickly. And you don't want to do that. What you want to do is put out consistent quality content that helps them do something. You want to build your expertise by doing that. You know, you can become an expert just doing social media. You can go out there and show people how you do things and talk about giving stuff away. I think the idea that you tell people too much is much better than you tell them nothing. And that's really changing the way that we're doing things with marketing. Marketing today has gone from, trying to sell to trying to tell. And telling is how we build our expertise, because we can tell people what's going on. And if you really can't think of a way to do that, coming up with the most common problems you see in your business and finding different ways or different opportunities to solve those problems for people, and then making content about that, it shouldn't be too hard to do. You probably get the same question. You probably get the same problems repeatedly and then coming up with an expertise way to do that. And I'll show you some ideas here. But the idea is you want to be their advisor and you want to be their long-term friend that, you know, they'll come to you for whatever it is that you do, or maybe even what you don't do, and you can help them. Content implementation, how we're going to do that? What's the best ways to do that? Probably everybody's doing some of these, maybe not all of them, but you can go out there and start thinking about what makes sense for you. Social media posts are probably the most common. People are, I mean, I post usually once a day on Facebook, and that goes across to every media, really. Social media posts, you can say what you do and build some expertise. I've got a couple examples here in a minute of that. Free training. If there's something that you do, Lisa had a great point here a minute ago. With the new form in Oregon, she could put on a free training with either recorded or in person. And, you know, people want more, they need more help with it, boom, they can come to her and get some help with that form. I think the free training idea, I've used it over the years a lot, and it's probably my favorite thing to do because it really builds your expertise. Blog post. I don't know how many of you have a blog or a podcast, but that's something to think about today, is that you can go into longer, more in-depth solutions when you have a longer form of media. Well, what now? You do 3 minutes on the short videos, TikTok and Instagram, but 3 minutes isn't going to give you a whole lot of time to answer the questions. You can have a provocative way to engage people there, but they're not going to give you time to present the whole thing. You're going to talk awful fast in 30 seconds or even 3 minutes. And then podcast, I think podcasts are coming back big time right now. If right or wrong, how the election turned out is the result greatly of podcasts. You know, if you're out there on podcasts and you're seeing what's going on, 1 million, 3 million, 5 million people looking at different podcasts every week. I know myself, I got rid of my cable TV and I just look at YouTube and podcasts today. I get my news there. I get all my information off YouTube. And it's really a good way to do it because podcasts, people will take time and listen to a half hour, 45-minute podcast where they might not ever take that time to watch the presentation. But the podcast can be an interview, can be talking to one of your customers. It can be talking about something that you're an expert in. And if nothing else, you can talk about case studies. Maybe you've got a customer that you help. You don't have to necessarily give their name, but you can talk about the customer that you were able to help and how it worked for them. So the case studies are a great way to have either a social media post or a podcast. So getting people engaged is what we really want to do. And I think the engagement piece is, you know, you want to have more open discussions. One-on-one, whether it's one to one or one to many, but actually getting face to face with people today in marketing is the best way to do it. So when you're starting to talk about those open discussions, you want to have personal, you know, you don't want, I might use a chat bot to engage people into watching something. But then once I get them engaged, I want them to respond to me with a DM or with a message so that I can talk to them one-to-one. And I think that's really important. Personal response and not just some chatbot. The chatbots are easy to do today. What we want to do is build community. This sounds like networking, doesn't
Yeah.
it? I looked at this, this is networking. But community building, want to build a community around us that can be our salespeople, that can help us get more people. And finally, we're looking for natural sales growth and not for going out and selling. What we're going to do is be telling more of how we can help people, how we're the expert at what we do, and then naturally have the sales come to us. The push is much better than or much worse than the pull, I guess is the way to put that. Right? We don't want to push people, we want to pull people. And if we pull people into our conversations and into our networking that we do and do our marketing we do, they're going to start giving us. So here's something I guess I would give you a good idea to start something with this new type of marketing. I'm going to give you some more information when we're done, so you can think about it. But you want to start small, because what that means is you want to just say, I'm going to go try this. What I did was I said, I'm going to go try this. I'm going to do it on one media. I chose Facebook. Facebook and Instagram are the same thing. So choose one platform. And you can do that very easily. Just say, okay, I'm going to limit some marketing down to one platform. I'm going to post every day for a month, 2 months. Just make that commitment. And then once you have that platform chosen, you want to create value in everything you do. So again, got a couple examples of that. But once you get the value going, you want to think differently. Now, one of the nice things about AI, there's a lot of bad things about AI. But one of the nice things about AI is that it can give you ideas. As you say, okay, I'm an expert in insurance, I'm an expert in marketing, I'm an expert in real estate. What are people wanting to know about real estate in 2025? And you can use any of them. We'll come up with a list for you. For the top 10 questions that people ask about whatever it is you do. And then you can come up with answers to those. You can use your own material, or you can say, okay, Mr. AI, help me out. What are 5 points I can talk about? And then build your presentation or your marketing around that. And then as you go, you want to measure and adjust. Don't just keep going. If you're not getting any success, banging your head against the wall for 3 months is probably not what you want to do. You start looking like me, you won't have any hair. But you want to adjust as you go. It's really important that you get some response, but you also get some good ideas that you're getting things back. So I wanted to share this with you.
Yeah.
I started these little posts. I know Becky's been liking some of them. So but I started these little posts that are oriented towards marketing. And what they are is just that little, no pictures, there's no video. For people that are scared to go on camera or feel like you don't want to take pictures, you don't have to share that. This is real easy. You can go on. I go to Canva. I just use a format there, a template, and I do each day. It's a different thing. And what I do is I take my content and I build it into the caption. So I'm
You
giving
take your
away,
content. You said content.
yeah.
Okay.
Content, yeah.
Yeah.
So the content that I want to give away on this particular post was, if you're feeling like you're not good in photography or whatever, you can do that. And here's some 5 ideas of how to 5 game-changing photo secret. And this goes on, and it's a long content. So it's quite a bit of information there. And I think I've had 5 or 6 people DM me about this, and they've said, oh, wow, I never thought of that. Or thank you, or, they're just seeing that I'm an expert, that I'm trying to help them out. I'm building my expertise. And it's something really simple post. You can do it in handwriting. Frank, my mentor, he does it, a lot of his in handwriting, takes a picture of it. My handwriting's not good enough for that, so I don't do that. But that very simple, and that's an easy way to do it. Just come up with the 5 things, and you can just go. Let's get real for a second. Is your social media looking a little like amateur hour? Yeah, it probably is. Most of us do. So here you go. Here's some 5 tips for making better photos. Now, what's happening is all the social media companies have changed the way they do things. We probably remember a couple of years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think about it, Facebook said, we're only going to show your content, your post to 25 people, your 25 people that are closest to you or the most involved with you. That all changed about last April. And now what's happening is that these posts are getting seen by not only the people that follow you, but Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whoever it is. They're taking and saying, okay, we're going to show this to a certain number of people that aren't followers. And I pulled this one up from Insights just to show you the way this particular post was. There are 174 views. Of that, 32% are non-followers. So they're actually marketing to whatever that number is, about 60 people, 50 some people for me that I never would have reached. And they're doing that with every post now. The reason they're doing that, and that gets higher and lower depending on the content, the value of the content that you're providing. If you're providing just a sales pitch, that's going to be about 0. If you're providing something that people look at and engage with, whether they engage here or they send you a DM or an email or whatever, they're going to see that. Believe it or not, they know exactly what we're doing. And when that happens, they start showing it to people that they know. So let's say Becky looks at it and says, I like this, or I looked at it, I read it, and I spent 30 seconds reading it. And then they're going to go to Becky's group of friends that she has and find people like Becky who might like it also and show it to them. And that's the way social media is working today. Totally different than it used to be. So it's good to be aware of that. It's a good reason to start down the path, I think. So just some key takeaways from this short presentation. We got to think about not only in marketing, but in the whole networking world, we got to think about value first and sales second. Got to build trust through expertise. And we can do that whether we're sharing on social media, whether we're doing a podcast or whatever it is. Build that expertise, show that you're the expert, that you can help people, and then engage with people authentically. If you're just using a chat bot or you're using a digital virtual assistant or whatever to engage with people, you got to, at some point, disengage that, engage personally with people, and be authentic. And then finally, let the relationships drive growth, because people will refer, people will buy from you when you build a relationship with them. And I have a gift for you, and it's a little ebook.
Oh, very cool.
I'm not even going to ask your email. See, I'm being totally authentic here. I'm not even going to ask your email. If you go to that link or you go to that QR code, I'm not even going to ask. It just goes into a Google Doc. You can download it, and a lot more information, not just about this, but everything else that's going on with digital marketing that's changed. And it might be something that's helpful for you. I hope it is. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. It's a little different format over here. I've started another website and doing things, but Golden Rule Agency is my marketing agency.
Oh, wow, okay.
And Golden Rule basically is the way I do business, right? I do unto others as I want done unto me. And a lot of free stuff, a lot of content first. Okay. Anyway, that's kind of where I just wanted to throw that out there today and let you all have some ideas. I'll leave
like
that up
that.
for a second if you want, and then you want me to click off this screen, Becky? I can.
Oh wait, I want to write it down, because the reason is, guys, I won't do the bit.ly, but I'll send you Jeff's and Lisa's information. That way, if you have questions or, see, I can't read my writing. Maybe I can relate. She can't read my writing either.
I always just take a quick screenshot on stuff like this.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, duh. I've got that right here. Sorry. Thanks, Lynn.
Because of how I write too. You're trying to write in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I got it.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
Okay.
Jeff, are you taking
Yes.
questions?
bet.
So I've got two questions. One, at one point I had, and I haven't been on it at all. I had a business page separate from my personal page. I take it at this point, just ditch the business page and work the personal page.
I'd say you could do either. It depends what you use the personal page for. If your personal page is all cat photos and, you know, it really doesn't relate to your business, you might want to keep your business page. But yeah, you can just go back and start posting on it regularly and build a campaign and you know, post content on that. Because it will start showing, but you got to build some audience for it too, right? So you got to let people know that you're using that business page. If you haven't used it for a while.
I just didn't, I thought I stopped using it because I was told the algorithms were no longer
Oh, for the pages, the business
for the
pages.
pages, for the
Yeah.
business pages.
Yeah, for
Not any-
Facebook.
that for Facebook, no, that's not.
The algorithm
Facebook
or what?
business.
Yeah, for Facebook, don't worry about that. And
We're
do
not
you
worrying about
also,
algorithms anymore.
huh?
We're not worrying about algorithms.
Well, I mean,
anymore.
you know, if you don't have eyes on it, then it's not going to do you any good to put that effort in that location.
Right. But that's why I say you got to build an audience. So you got to have your people go there. So they are subscribed to it. They're following you. I have 7 business pages. And it depends what you're doing.
So Jeff, what's your time consumption in maintaining all those different pages?
I don't maintain all those, but the ones that I use, it takes me 15 minutes a day to do my posts that I do.
Okay, and that is including responding or evaluating comments or info you get?
Yeah, I can't say that because, you know, if you and I get on the phone, Rick, it'll be more than 15 minutes. So.
Yeah.
How'd you know that?
No, I'd say outbound marketing, 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Because that's one issue that I've had is trying to maintain it. If I get people asking questions or follow up and then trying to follow up with that, or accumulating them and trying to do a post or a response that I can just broadcast, it takes a lot more time than I even thought it would.
Yeah. Well, and the important thing there is that you go personal at some point, rather than keep trying to send DM back and forth 100 times. You know, you just go, okay, let's set up a time to meet.
One other comment I have is I appreciate your slides because I've always done presentations with only 1 to 3 points per slide, maximum maybe 5 to keep it simple so people can focus, and not a lot of black background or real involved pictures, because that becomes a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought your slide and presentation was great.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Jeff, you know, so many things that you said. I love the fact that you called, you know, this social media marketing or whatever is dead, just to help bring us into the new modern way of things going. We're still doing this same type of marketing, but it's just on a different realm. And you know, I want to say, make sure your personality comes out in those things. Lynn's personality on his page to constantly be telling the stories of his kitten and puppy were always, they're very engaging. Whereas if he was just giving me constant updates on merchant services, I would be blown past his feed so fast. But he tells stories, it lets his personality come out, and it's his part of his personality is the reason why I think about him when I'm in the world of looking for referrals. It's not just what he does, but it's who he is.
Yeah.
Dogs make everything more fun.
So do cats.
Yes, cats too, especially when they play with each other at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Does anybody have any last minute questions that I don't know if Jeff and Lisa can hang out, but because it is the magical hour of 3 on Pacific time.
Good stuff, Jeff. I pulled up my Facebook and looked at the professional dashboard to see. I didn't know some of the stuff was going on.
It's changed.
I have a lot more views a month than I realized I did. But that what you also explained that non-followers. A year ago, I put up a post, an SCTV video clip of John Candy and another guy, 3 guys playing in a band, really bad music, but really funny. And I had over 800,000 views. Wow. And that doesn't fit with what I do, but it's like, this just keeps going and going.
800,000. Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got one of those one that I did a
That's
little
really
YouTube
good.
10 years ago that was balloon people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I used to use balloon people to do points. And I made this balloon people. When I looked at it the other day, it's like 500,000 views now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, usually if I've got a good Malamute video or a cat video, I might get 1,000. But 800, over 800 was crazy.
Yeah.
Lisa, I also want to thank you for breaking that down on those 10-minute commercials, because it's really important, you know, that our presentations, that we get it more down, because I just put mine together and I'm sitting there going, oops, I think I need to change some things.
Yeah.
But well, you've seen it, so yeah. But
Lisa, have you ever done any
ways of things.
videos? When you look at your families, is there a consistency from one to the other, what the issues that come up are?
I'm sorry, what was that?
In other words, is there a story for these families that is consistent from one to the other? Do the same issues come up?
Sometimes.
Because what I'm thinking, I would love to see videos of what the whole process is about, you know, because it seems to me there must be common issues. You've got a sample population, you know, and I'm just curious what that looks like. Do you do videos at all?
I don't know about Lisa, but what I've always said is think about the clients that you've worked with or you're working with now, and your best avatars are the ones that you really like working with.
Right.
It's when Lisa just is doing that, I know Lisa well enough to know that she is describing clients that she works with that she really likes. And that's where she gets the information from. If that makes sense.
Right. I think you can boil it down. You know, sometimes you do find that, Jay, that you'll find people have some common things. But even if they don't, you can come up with an idea. I know we have a carpet cleaner and I take the lead. And I know his pitch so well. You know, he knows that a professional person that's over 27 has kids and pets. You know, I mean, there's more to it. But when you think about that, that really adds to it. So he's boiled down my 10 best customers, my 10 repeating customers. And what do they all have in common? Those are the 3 things or 4 things. And you can boil that down that way. It's really easy.
Well, I'm a social psychologist. I've done many years of research, and I just see what you're talking about to be a real focus, that you could do some really interesting study if you want. And that may not be your thing, but I'm curious about that because you're painting kind of a picture of us. Obviously, you're trying to create a picture, which you do. And I'm just curious how far that goes. You know, because you could write a book on that.
Lisa is a CPA, and what she was doing, she's part of our networking group community, and she's teaching everybody here is a member, except for you, a member of our community, where they meet every week and teach each other how to refer to them.
Yeah.
And so that's what Lisa's doing. It's not something that she wants to do full time.
Kind of how to make better use of your meetings on when it's your time to speak, so that people get to know who you are in that 10 minutes versus saying, what was that about?
I know. Or
Well,
that
and
would-
yeah, and you know, when I go to the meetings, it is the three types of speeches that I described are based on my years of observation. And you know, yeah, sometimes it's really important to know the background of somebody, but your group members don't need to have your resume every
Mhm.
couple of months.
Exactly.
And then at some point, your group will know the bulk of your avatars. And so mixing it up with something that's a little bit more informative or educational or helpful to them
Mhm.
is also really good. You know, when we're talking about wildfires, having an insurance person come out and say, okay, listen, we're going to have huge insurance increases across the board. We're all going to be affected by them. These are the things you can do to
Mhm.
help your house, you know, and help mitigate things. So it's something that is of value to the people who are listening. At the same time, then I'm thinking, oh, geez, you know, my friend, they've got a lot more big bushes or trees near their roof line that need to be cut
Right.
down. And so it's something that is, it's kind of a twofold. Oh, this is going to help me, but it's also going to help me find referrals. So,
Yeah.
and as you get to know yours, I mean, on our Monday group, the core 5 of us, I think we've all been together since before COVID. So, I mean, there's, you know, we've got a lot of history there in our group.
Jeff, one more thing. What about Meetup? Here we are, we're meeting on Meetup. Are you do you do Meetup? You have programs?
I do not right now. I have in the past. I
But
just
doesn't that
haven't
fit
been
into
using it.
what you're saying about how to market?
It can, if that's your platform that you choose. Yeah, you can choose one platform is what I suggest you start with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
the-
I
the
did 10
problem-
years of Meetup, basically. Before Meetup, I was
Yeah.
bringing groups together and we met every 2 weeks. We had a program. I did 200 meetings like that. And
Yeah.
clearly you get to know people very well.
Well,
Mhm.
that's kind of what we do is for 25 years, we've been in business. I take the lead and we put the groups together. And so these are all members of our groups. Jeff belongs to 3 of our groups and he oversees those 3 groups that he handles. And Lisa, two of our groups.
Sounds good. Well, Jeff, thanks for the presentation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you too.
Thank-
Yeah.
Thank
so-
you very
Thanks for being
much.
here,
Thank
Jay.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Lisa. Yep,
Well,
thank you.
well, Jay,
Jeff.
thanks for being here, Jay. It was nice meeting you.
It was a
Yes.
pleasure.
Glad you found us.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody. And I will be
Bye.
sending out replays. My son's in the hospital having surgery today. So probably not today, but I'll get it out to you as soon as I can. And so thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Nice meeting you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Take care.